Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Boardgame Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game called Discoveries, the Journal of Lewis and Clark. Discoveries, the Journals of Lewis and Clark is a game designed by, I'm going to try to pronounce the name correctly, it's probably wrong, it appears to be in French, again, I apologize, Cedric Chaboissy. Sorry, here, let me show you so you can actually look at it. I apologize, I'm terrible with names. And it's published by Ludonaut and Asmodee, plays 2 to 4 players in about 60 minutes, and all that is accurate. So in this game, there's a whole lot of theme, actually. So I'm not going to go into it too much, but effectively what this is it is a dice version of a bigger game, sort of, called Lewis and Clark, and it's following the journeys of Lewis and Clark across America, meeting, new tribes, doing exploration, finding different kinds of animals and all that kind of thing. That's kind of what you're doing here, but effectively what you're doing is you're rolling dice, using those die faces to take actions on your player board to be the player that earns the most points after the deck runs out. That's it. Has some cool multi-use cards, really nice art, which we'll get back to, but I want to go down to the table so we can check it out. All right, so here's a game of Discoveries, the Journals of Lewis and Clark, all set up for 2 players. In a 2-player game, we're going to be using 6 gray dice. We're going to have 30 cards in the deck, and we'll remove the rest. So I've actually put the other ones that have been removed off camera so we can see. I'll show you what I'm looking at, actually. So you can see the icons that have been removed from the game. So, there's 2 stags, 2 birds, a fish, and 2 leaves. So I need to know that because there's we're trying to do some set collection, and there's a total of each of these that's listed on these cards. So I need to know what's not in the game and what's possibly in the game. And I say possibly because these cards are double-sided, multi-use, and we'll get back to that. Then each player will take a player board, a die of their own color, 5 dice of their own color, a diary card, which we have here on the appropriate side, and then we're each going to draft in turn order 1 of these expedition cards. So I have a stag card with a couple locations, and they have a bird. Then we'll put 3 tribe cards out, and we'll put 3 expedition cards out, and we're ready to play. Now, the way this game works is we're going to be placing dice to take actions. And the rule for or taking dice from the board, but basically placing dice to take actions. And the rule for placing dice is you can place all the dice with a single face and take as many actions as you can with that. Okay? So we're trying to get tribes, which are these cards over here, which are going to give us more actions that we can do with our dice, maybe special abilities. We are trying to do expeditions, which will be down here, to score points, basically, and collect sets of cards. And we may use a die to change die faces, or we can use a die to swap out our expedition with one that's easier or more difficult, more points, whatever. So that's what we're trying to do. And if we don't want to place a dice, we can grab some dice back, and we'll get into that when we play. So white players first, and we're going to go ahead and go. And I think what I want to do is I am going to take my 2 feet dice, hiking dice, and I'm going to take the hiking action. So the way this works is I need 2 feet dice. So I put 1 here. The other one gets moved. There's a little arrow. It gets moved to the board on the appropriate side. Okay? So basically discarded. But they're housed on 2 sides based on the die face. And then that's all I can do. I only had 2 feet dice. I can't do anything else, so I'm done. And now it's red's turn. And what they want to do is they're going to use this die here, which will send this over here. And they're going to change 2 dice to whatever 2 matching faces, and they're going to pick the Native American headdress. That's what we're going to do. And that's their turn. All right. Then back to me. I have a horseshoe. I'm going to go ahead and take this horseshoe, and I'm going to put it right there. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to... maybe I should do that. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to put that right there. And that's my turn. Again, 1 die face. Take as many actions as you can with that die face. Next, this player is going to use 2 of their Native American headdresses, and they're going to get a wary tribe. So there's 2 different types of tribe cards that you can get. There's friendly and wary. Wary is the arrow. friendly as the sunshine. To get a wary, you have to use 2 dice. They'll both get removed. And then you get to take any of the tribe cards that had the little arrow in the top. You can only take each of these actions 1 time. So if I had 3, I could only do that one once and that one once. That's it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this one. Because it has 3 TPs. And TPs are how we're going to score some extra points. So let's tuck this under. All right, so I took that card. And when you take a card, you also get to take a gray die and roll it in. And now I have another die. And then we'll refill this with that card. And that's our turn. They used their die faces here, took the action, got a card, moved on. And now they're in the lead with TPs because they have 2 in a 2-player game. Whoever has the most TPs on their card gets 12. Second player gets 6. So now it's back to me. And I'm going to do an expedition. Now here's how an expedition works. You need to trigger the expedition with the riding die. So I put 1 there. And I'll put 1 there. Now, I want to be able to move this many spaces through expeditions. Ooh, I can't do that. Just kidding. No, I'm not going to do that. Just kidding. We'll come back to that. So hold that thought. I'm actually going to take dice from the board. Now, when you take dice from the board, you have a couple options. You can take all of your colored dice from wherever they are. So if this player would get my dice, I could take that wherever they are. No matter where they are, I could take all my dice colored back. Or I could take all the dice on this side or all the dice on this side. And I think I want to take these 2 because at least there's one of mine. I'm going to roll it. So notice I have one of my dice and one of my opponent's dice. It's okay. Doesn't matter. And that's my turn. You're either going to place dice or take dice. All right. So now it's Red's turn. And they need to move 4. So they're actually going to take their dice back as well. They're going to roll them. They got that and that. That'll work. Okay, and then it's my turn. I'm going to use these 3 dice here to go there, and these 2 will go right there. So I'm trying to make it so I can pass through mountains because I have a mountain I need to go through. Okay, done. The other player's turn. They're going to go here, use 1 Native American headdress, and they're going to get a friendly tribe because it's the sun. So they'll take this card. This will give them more options for moving and a TP, but now they have more options there, and they get another gray die. So they roll it in, and there we go. New card comes out. Now it's my turn, and I'm going to take all these dice because I need some dice. All right, so we got 2 of these and this. Okay, done. Now it's that player's turn, and they need to move 4. So I'm going to take this die here. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to change the face of 2 other dice, and these 2 are both going to be Native American headdresses. And done. All right, so that was their turn. Back to me. Now I am going to swap some more die faces around. I'm going to use this foot to change these to A's. So now I have 3 A's, and I'm ready to go. Okay, back to this player. They're going to use the headdresses, so they're going to put 1 here, lock it in, so they can start working on that. And then they're going to use this one to take another friendly tribe, which will be this one. I'll put that under their board here. I'm just trying to make it so you don't have to tuck it under. I'm just trying to make it so it's easier to stay on camera. And then I get another gray die, roll it in, another foot. All right, new card. Now I'm going to try an expedition because I want to show you how that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put A's on any of these locations that I want to fire off. Now I need to move 2 mountains for sure. So I need to go here. I'm going to put 1 here. Then what else can I do? And I'm going to go ahead and go here and here. Okay. Now, what happens is I need to complete this card, and if I have extra movement, I can try to complete another one of these cards to be able to take another turn. All right. And I think I'm going to be able to do 2 if I plan this correctly. All right. So I have 2 mountain movement. So I'm going to use my 2 mountain movement to move through this card. So 1, 2, did it. So that one's completed. It's going to go under there. I'll put it under there in a second. Then I'm going to also complete this one, I believe, because I need 3 water movement, and I can do that because I actually have 5. So I'll connect this, I'll do the 2 mountains, I'll do 3 waters, and I've completed both of those cards. So now I have a stag and a 3-point card. Put that under there, goes in your journal. And then I get to take a card, a new card. So I'm going to take this one, it's 10 points, that's a lot of points. And then I get to re-roll every die that was associated with my expedition. So that's all of these. So I basically get all my dice back, roll them in, and that's my turn. And we'll replenish this one and that. And that's how the game's going to keep going. You're going to keep playing like that until this deck runs out and people are not able to put a new expedition in their corner here. Okay? Then after all that, we're going to score. You're going to get points for the values on your cards. So, any points you have there. Sets of animals. So if you get all 4 different animals, it's 24 points. But every individual wants 3, so if you have duplicates and all that. And whoever has the most TPs will get 12. Whoever has second will get 6. And then after all of that, whoever has the most points is the winner. That's how you play Discoveries. Let's go to the top. See what they think about it. All right, well, that was Discoveries, the Journals of Lewis and Clark. All right, so let's talk about the art first before we get into it. So, well, I guess I should hit the rule book. So the rule book is okay. It has some stuff that's kind of buried in some of the explanations, but it's a good size. Has some theme if you care about that. It tells you how to set up and all that stuff. Has a complete breakdown of all the tribe cards, which is cool. I appreciate that. So it's a fine rule book. Would like it to be maybe a little bit clearer, but that's okay. Now let's talk about the art and the production, because this is where this game really shines. The art is from Vincent Dutray, and look at this board right here. This board is fantastic, and all this is a place to put dice. That's it. This whole entire board is a place to put dice here and here. But that is a great scenic piece of art. I love it. Looks amazing on the table. Gorgeous. Fantastic. Unnecessary piece, but great art. Has really nice chunky dice that are all custom. You saw them in the run through here. These player boards are really cool. They have places for your explorations, your journal, where your dice sit, where all the actions go. The game is basically this and some cards. That's it. But it's got that cool art piece. And then there's these amazing cards. I actually don't know if any of these cards are the same. I don't believe so. I think they're all different, but they're all multi-use. So there's the tribe side on one side with some art and actions, special abilities. And then there's the exploration side on the other. Really cool art. Some of them have, let's find some animals. Some of the cards have a cool little animal drawn on them, which is interesting. All you care about is that symbol, but the animal art is really cool, or the plant or whatever. Fantastic art, which should be no surprise. It's Vincent Dutray, and he doesn't halfway do art. He knocks it out of the park. So fantastic art, great production. The only weird thing is these cards, one of the ends is pointy. It's because you're putting it in your board like this, sliding it in there. But just keep that in mind when you're shuffling. Sometimes you'll poke yourself in that corner. Not a big deal, but just be aware of that. But production's top notch, fantastic art. Even art inside the box, which super unnecessary, but amazing nonetheless. Cool art in the box. Fantastic art, amazing cover. Everything about the production of this game is fantastic. So let's talk about the gameplay. So this game is a simple little dice game. That's it. You saw what this game does in the playthrough. Everything that I showed you in the playthrough is what this game does. You're rolling dice, using those dice, all the one type of dice face on your turn, taking actions. You're going to be acquiring new tribe cards. You're going to be going on explorations, changing the faces of your die, maybe swapping out your exploration card. Then you might get to draft other dice from the board, take all of your own dice back from some other player, take other players' dice, use them as your own. Simple game. So much on your turn, you're placing dice, you're taking dice. That's it. But the way that the exploration works, when do you want to explore? Do you want to hold off to explore till you can get a whole bunch, so you can do 2 cards and then get that extra turn? It's fantastic. It's simple. It's fast. It's a lot faster than Lewis and Clark, but Lewis and Clark also has amazing production in art. Vincent Dutray. So it's similar theme, same theme, same art, but it's a much smaller game. It says this one's 30 minutes per player. This one's 60 minutes total. It gives you a similar kind of feel as the bigger brother, but in half the time, less rules overhead, and who doesn't love throwing some dice around and placing them and doing some actions? Who doesn't love that? So I'm a big fan of this game. It's really fun. Can't wait to play it some more. And one I'm definitely going to keep in my collection, even though I have the bigger one, because they are super different. And I think different groups will like each game, depending on the type of game style that that group likes. So I'm going to give this a BGM Accepted seal. This is going to get an 8 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 4 out of 5 wrenches on an arbitrary wrench scale. It means absolutely nothing, but we like to give it the games that we enjoy. And that's what I'm going to do. So that is Discoveries, the Journals of Lewis and Clark. From Ludonaut, I'm Jason with the Boardgame Mechanics. And as always, keep gaming.